Cyberpunk 2077's concurrent players on Steam saw a significant boost recently since its first launch back in December 2020. The recent interest in the Cyberpunk RPG has sparked once more given the release of Cyberpunk Edgerunners on Netflix, the most recent Edgerunners update, patch 1.6, and the upcoming Phantom Liberty expansion coming in 2023. Cyberpunk 2077 has recently generated a lot of buzz following the release of the animated series Edgerunners on Netflix. Over a 24-hour period, the number rose to over 85,000 concurrent players. What's also remarkable is Cyberpunk 2077 managed to topple Elden Ring, which had less than half of the 24-hour peak at 43,754. The animated TV series is created in collaboration with CD Projekt Red and Studio Trigger, an animation studio in Japan. Like in the game, the show revolves around the life of the main character, in this case a street kid, David Martinez. Patch 1.6 brings a hefty amount of changes to the game. These include the much-awaited transmog system, Edgerunners content related to the anime, the introduction of several new weapons as well as secret quests, and cross-progression. If you want to know more about Cyberpunk 2077, as with all news in this article, you can check out the link in the description below. Diablo 4 got a surprise announcement this week that the closed beta, or the closed endgame beta, will be available soon. Select participants will be invited to join. The team did want to reiterate this is a closed endgame beta. What this means is that they will initially be picking a small set of players according to game data. Those who have been quite active in Diablo 3 and Diablo 2 Resurgence endgames are more likely to be selected. The closed beta will be confidential and feedback can be only coursed through Blizzard at the moment. Diablo 4's closed beta will consist only of the endgame aspects this time around. No campaign will be in sight at least during this period. This is because the developers do not wish to unveil Lilith's story just yet. It looks like there might be some twists and turns awaiting for players. Diablo 4's endgame closed beta was also announced to have a few systems that players will have access to. These are Helltide, a region-wide server event, Nightmare Dungeons, Whisper of the Dead sort of mini-quest granting, Grim Favors, Currency, Fields of Hatred, which is a PvPvE zone, and the Paragon boards. Rogue Trader, the first CRPG in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, gets tons of new info about the available companions, backgrounds, and enemies. Backgrounds divulged include Navy Officer, Commissar, and Ex-Criminal. Also introduced is a new companion, Cassia the Navigator, gifted with the ability to safely steer the Imperium's warships through the dangerous warp. There was also the first confirmation that there will be both the Asuryani and Durokai Eldari enemies present in Warhammer 40,000. These are the Craftworld and Dark Elder respectively. So far there has been no release date announced for this game. Announced this week is a board game for Elden Ring. Steamforged are behind it and they will be starting a Kickstarter complete with tabletop miniatures. After the successful year of Elden Ring's launch, the action RPG is being turned into a tabletop game. Steamforged, the tabletop game publisher behind the likes of Dark Souls the board game, Dark Souls the card game, Monster Hunter World board game and more, are transforming the lands between into a board game to be funded on Kickstarter. Early backers can help fund these stretch goals and be one of the first to get the board game before it hits the shelves. Not many details have been outlined, but what we do know is that the game will immerse players in the Forsaken lands between. The game will allow 1 to 4 players to take on the role of the Tarnished with a huge and varied adventure. Players will use intelligent dice-free combat, which means strategizing and adapting plans during each encounter when facing a lowly Godric soldier or the grafted king himself. So far the campaign has teased one of the first bosses, which shows a miniature Margit. Other Steamforged projects have included further expansions with a spotlight on boss encounters. As with all Kickstarter campaigns, stretch goals can further content, enemies and more. The first miniature looks amazing, hopefully more stunning models will be funded when the project goes live. So far there's no start date of the Kickstarter campaign, but if you want to follow the campaign you can do so by following the Kickstarter page to get a notification for when it does. Content this August has been very popular for Amazon Games' published MMO Lost Ark. It has been rather small in comparison to other months though. Last month introduced a nice little stronghold distraction, the Pet Ranch, as well as a few other mini events to act as catch-up mechanics. Good to know that coming next week on September 28th, a large update will be upon us. Western Lost Ark will be getting the Machinist class and the Calcul Tsaden Legion raids. Introducing the Machinist Lost Ark's next advanced class. The Machinist in Lost Ark, or called Scouter in other regions, is the most technologically advanced class. He makes use of a trusty drone companion that has more weapons hidden inside. Alongside the new class comes the merging of servers. Amazon Games will be implementing server merges being done for Western Europe, Central Europe, and the South American regions. Also this month is a holiday event, Oktoberfest. Celebrating, yes you've guessed it, the beer festival Oktoberfest. Various Twitch streamers will have drops available for players to get their hands on a beer head cosmetic. A special weekend Fever Time event will be happening. Instead of the usual Fever Time only being limited to Saturday and Sunday, this Oktoberfest will be extended to 4 days. From September 22nd to the 24th, Fever Time will be granting food buffs in the form of sausages, pretzels, and gingerbread. Lost Ark is currently available on PC. New Game Plus will be heading to SteelRising next week, letting you bring weapons, levels, gears, and upgrades. Next week on September 29th, a new update will be hitting the action RPG SteelRising, adding further adventure and challenges with New Game Plus. Be prepared to bring your weapons, levels, gears, upgrades, and of course your A game as you face a higher level of difficulty. New Game Plus or NG Plus will let you players relive the game as it resets all quests but pits players against a more challenging level of difficulty, while keeping characters' progress. This means you'll still have the same levels, weapons, gear, and upgrades. The patch will release on September 29th, where players will need to download and update their game. Once updated, you'll have access to NG Plus as long as you have finished the game. The patch also brings some new badass weapons exclusive to New Game Plus, exclusive complete outfits, and several NG Plus exclusive enemy variations with new skins, weapons, and even movesets. If you want to know our thoughts on SteelRising, you can check out our review on our channel. For those about to venture into the automat-filled Paris, check out our beginner guide and class guide as well. The first major story DLC for Dying Light 2 has been delayed according to Studio Techland, with the DLC Bloody Ties now releasing on November 10th. Bloody Ties is the first of the two-part story DLC slated for Dying Light 2. The devs have already shared their plan to support the game 5 years post-launch, with the first content being set at the Carnage Hall. This once Opera House now houses a different kind of entertainment where the stage now features fighters. Described as being the epicenter of death, wealth, and absolute splendor, players will find challenges and quests, surprising new weapon types, character interactions, and discoveries to uncover. Bloody Ties was teased back in August, showing two fighters in combat, one brutally slaughtering the other. We also saw the victor claim a skull crown, dubbing him the winner of the match. So fans will have to wait a little bit longer for November 10th for the DLC to be released. Moving on to some CRPG news, the team at Tactical Adventures has announced a new DLC for Solasta Crown of the Magister called Inner Strength. The DLC introduces new character classes and subclasses, as well as a new ancestry. A free update also arrives alongside the DLC, which introduces backgrounds, feats, and more. 3 new classes include the Warlock class, a charismatic spellcasting class with 4 subclasses. Warlocks have the ability to make pacts with demonic entities. Next is the Bard, who wields a flute and lute, helping to bolster their comrades through the power of music. Finally, the Monk class will keep the dark forces at bay, equipped with martial arts. Aside from these classes and features introduced into Solasta's 3rd DLC is the addition of the Dragonborn ancestry. The Inner Strength DLC will release on November 15th. Well, that's it for the Week in the Wikis. Please join us again next week for yet another great week of gaming. Remember to check out our VIP program for some exclusive supporter benefits. And budding writers should take advantage of our Become an Author initiative. Thanks again for being part of this great community. Keep checking in with us with news, reviews, YouTube streams and vids, and general wiki goodness.